Wow, why'd you playing? Hold on. Gotta refresh. Okay. Alright, let's get the live chat back on. Seems like every time I do something, if I minimize, make it bigger, yeah, it just likes to change it to top chat. So, hello everybody. Let's see who we have in the studio tonight. We got Terry and Froggy and Sharon, Carol, um, oh, hello. Hello, Avery. Welcome. Okay. That's awesome. Welcome, welcome. So, yeah, I'm starting the new year out well. Took today to get all the projects for tonight done. It wasn't too bad. I will say that the what do you call it? The PDF. I'm gonna work on that after I'm done. After I have dinner. I'm gonna clean my blocks as I talk to you guys because they are really bad. Um, so we're supposed to be getting some severe weather overnight, and I'm thinking that I'm going to be good for this live, that I think that bad weather isn't going to happen until much later in the evening. So now I'm just hoping that, my power won't go out. Well, it was actually this morning. I kind of rolled over, looked at my phone, and saw what time it was. It was probably about 7:30, and you know, working from home, I can climb out of bed like about what 10 minutes before I have to start at 8. And I thought, well, I don't have time, to take a shower beforehand. And then I hesitated if I could do it or not. And then I saw the text message or the email from the property saying that they were going to be shutting the water off from like 8 to 11. Hello, Tracy. To do like some kind of repair. Well, I thought, well, maybe they got it done really quick because it seemed like whenever I checked the water, it was running with no problem. Well, it come to find out a little bit later in the day, they said there was some kind of issue with the utility company or whatever. They needed to come out to do something. And so they said that, well, we'll keep you posted on, when, things will be happening. So at that point, I thought, okay, this is going to be my perfect time to like get in there, get my shower done. There was still no update. So I thought, okay, now I'm going to go and do the load of laundry because I was starting to run out of clothes. And so I just made it that it got through the whole cycle and rinse and everything before the water went off. So the water, I would say, went out probably about um, quarter to two. The water's still out. Um, they said they sent a message, I think, was it about 4 o'clock, where they said that it'd be like around 5. Well, it's now 6. It's now 6 and nothing. So, yeah, they better get it in gear and they better get that water back on because, like I said, we're going to have some bad weather later on and they're not going to be working on anything in bad weather. So, they needed to get it together. Um, don't want to be without water. Don't mind me, I'm just like drying off my blocks. I didn't have a chance to take these and throw them in the dishwasher and get them clean that way. So I took like a baby wipe to wipe them down because they were pretty nasty. You know, my Stampin' Scrub, I got to clean that too because that, yeah, after a while you do got to pop out those scrubbers, and you got to give them a nice rinse and clean. So I got to still do that, but I need water to do that. So yeah. So how has everybody been doing? It seems like, you know, we're already in a start. Hello, Becky. We're already in the start of 2026, and I don't know about you, but I feel like time is flying again. Next thing you know, it's going to be Christmas again. Heck, I might as well just leave up that Christmas tree and, you know, my Christmas lights, and yeah, it'll be back here in no time. So, what's been going on? Not a whole lot. I will tell you that this weekend, you know what, Froggy, and I gotta get yours out as well because you're 3 days before me. So, I don't know if Yvonne. Oh, there she is. See, I just mentioned her name and she just popped on. See? Yvonne has been, so Yvonne was here, you know, for a good amount of days between Christmas and New Year's. And I think on one of the lives, she made mention that her hubby was sick. Well, we took care of getting him like oranges and soup and stuff like, and medicine and stuff. Um, you know, because he needed the stuff and he wasn't going to go out anywhere. Well, what was it, that Tuesday before New Year's? Yvonne went home for like about 24 hours, came back. She was back here for a few days, and then oh, that don't go there. Yeah, come Sunday, yep, she got sick as well. You're finally getting better? Well, guys, I need you to pray for me that I do not get sick, because even though the last time I saw Yvonne was on Sunday, well, Sunday afternoon actually, I've been doing good, nothing. However, now my co-worker Stephanie, who she was out on PTO for a good chunk of time around Christmas and New Year's. So, you know, what day was it? Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday was the first, no, yeah, Wednesday was the first day that I saw her since being back at work. And yeah, I was kind of worried about her because, yeah, she wasn't answering her phone. And usually, like, if either one of us are kind of running a little late or something, we would end up calling each other just to see, to make sure that, hey, you awake, you okay? And good shot. And, yeah, she just wasn't answering. And then come to find out, she said that for some reason she put her phone on airplane mode. She doesn't know how she ended up doing that, but she had a rough night. And so, you know, she did come in that afternoon. So of course, you know, when you haven't seen each other, and you know, and it looked like she just needed a hug, I gave her a hug. I think I gave her a couple of hugs, you know, during that time. And we were at work yesterday, it was just the two of us. And then today, she is full blown sick now. Yeah. And it's sounding like what she's feeling, I think Yvonne, is the same as what you were feeling. And for her, she was around another friend who was sick, and she's like, I knew better. I shouldn't have been over there. And she's also the type too, if it's windy, she's got to cover her head, cover her ears, and she didn't do that because again it was also warmer here. So yeah, now, yeah, today when I talked to her on Teams, yeah, she is full blown sick, didn't sleep well at all last night. And so now I'm just praying and hoping that I won't get sick, because I'm not a happy person when I'm sick. So praying that doesn't happen. So guys, so tonight we are going to be using the 12 days of crafting Advent calendar. So that's a whole mouthful. Try having to type that a few times, which I had to do. So I have my little cheat sheet here with all of my dimensions, the same cheat sheet that's kind of like in the description. I do have to work on the, what do you call it? I have to work on the PDF, so I'm going to do that after I'm done here and I make something for dinner, and hopefully, you know, our power won't go out because these line of storms that are supposed to come through, there is a strong there's like a strong cold front that's right behind it. So they're talking about severe weather, you know, getting windy. They're not saying any tornado threats, but you can never like rule that out. And I just thought that, you know, I didn't even plug in my little lantern to make sure that was fully charged. But we'll see what happens. So that I'll work on tonight. Actually, I'm going to do the cards that you win, that for the winners for tonight. I want to get that all put together, so then that way, I think maybe tomorrow, we'll see, depending on how the weather is, I will get all of that out in the mail. Um, Anything else? Well, there are a few things that are going on. I did get my newsletter done. It went out a little bit later than I wanted it to, along with my Throwback Thursday video. Yeah, that didn't get done until like about 12:30 last night. I don't know what it is. It's just, you know, I'll end up working. By the time I get done, I'm tired. And it's like my mojo it's just gone. So, I did manage to get those cards done. What did I use? Hold on. Oh, yeah. The Builder Blossoms. That's what I used. So, let me see. What I'm missing. Well, that's good. This was a weekend of, excuse me, that Yvonne wasn't coming over, because this is the weekend her hubby's off from work, so they get to spend time with each other. So, let's see. Yes, yucky weather coming our way. Okay. And so you guys all know that I have pinned up at the top of the chat box the link to the Google spreadsheet, to where you can add your name to the spreadsheet. Ooh, wait, hold on. Let me see something here. Two of the fields. Okay, hold on. I get used to this like Google spreadsheet. It automatically starts saving. Why? Trying to understand why. I got two rows on here that are kind of grayed out. So let me remove them. So right now, Terry, Froggy, and Avery are on the list. But yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to flip this so then I can show you some stuff and then we can get started. The projects are, they're fairly easy projects. Yeah, you know, it also adds weird things. And so there were two rows out there. Okay, so like row 5 is showing that it's all grayed out. And it says anonymous Python. I don't know where that stuff comes from. Where's that? Delete that row. Yeah, I don't know what anonymous leopard. What is this thing doing? I don't know what this thing is doing, but it's doing weird stuff. Okay, it won't even let me delete a row. Delete row. Okay. I don't know what this thing is doing, but yeah, so if you're adding your name, start at line 6 and go down. I don't know why line 5 is showing what it's showing. I don't know what this anonymous Python thing is or anonymous leopard. I have no clue what that is. None. See, it just keeps on adding things. I don't know what this thing is doing. And it's graying things out. Why is it doing that? Okay, I see Becky's name is added now. All right. Well, we got a little bit before I pull those names into that wheel of names. So so whatever line you're able to get your name put in, go ahead and put it in there. When I go and copy and paste the names, whatever is in those other fields, they'll be removed. So I don't know what it's doing. It's kind of got a mind of its own. So let's see, let me go ahead, let me move these lights out of the way a little bit, and let's go ahead and let's flip this, and let's make sure I do not hit the microphone that mutes the video. I still don't know if that's exactly what I ended up doing when it came to, what was it, Thursday of last week when I did my Throwback Thursday and monthly Christmas card inspiration. Yeah, it wasn't fun that I had to completely redo both of those videos, but you guys can hear me fine. So we know that we're good. And I don't see the microphone muted on here, so okay, so let's get going. Okay, so a couple of things. Why is my throat getting all scratchy? Bonus days. This had whoops, let's start with the one that you earn with. So bonus days, you shop and you earn $5 coupons. So for every $50 that you spend, and I think in Canada, is it $60 in Canada? You will earn a $5 coupon. It started January 6th and it's going to go through February 2nd. And then from February 3rd through the 28th is where you can redeem them. Now, with these coupons, a couple of things. You do need to create, if what do you call it, a profile on the Stampin' Up website. Um, One thing that I do want to make mention now, I've had a couple of people place an order with me, and I have to mention this, in the event if anybody, watches this later and places an order and you're creating a profile on the Stampin' Up website. When you go to create a profile, there are going to be there's going to be like two boxes that you can opt in or not opt in to, or opt out of, that I do want to make mention about those two. Um, Opting in for Stampin' Rewards, you need to click on that. You need to opt into that, because I've had a few people place orders with me, and then they didn't get to receive any Stampin' Rewards because they didn't opt into it. Now, there is a suggestion box that Stampin' Up has, that demonstrators, they can put in suggestions for things, and they do look at everything that is submitted. I did submit something where that the Stampin' Rewards, to take that out of there where someone's got to opt in for it. There is an opt in or an opt out for contact, and I can understand that, because people don't want to get bombarded with emails and all that other stuff. But in order for me to have Stampin' Up send you a new catalog when it comes out, first, it saves like quite a bit of money in postage in mailing the catalogs. And unfortunately, I can't add you to the list to do that if you have opted out. So, okay, so you get a $6 coupon. Okay, so if you are creating a profile or you already have one out there, please, please, please remember that you do have to opt in for Stampin' Rewards. Our Stampin' Rewards program had changed a few months ago. In the past, when you placed an order and it hit $150 or more, you got to choose like 10% in Stampin' Rewards that you can add to your order. Now, the way it works, starting at $20, you earn 10% in Stampin' Rewards off of the product price, not, with the tax and the shipping and all that. And um, and then whatever rewards that you end up earning, you use that on a future order. So it's not something that is applied to the current order that you're placing. Like I said, I've had a couple of people place an order, and unfortunately they didn't opt in for it. So they ended up losing out on Stampin' Rewards, and I don't want to see anybody lose out on that. And again, the opting in for contact. When it comes to me, I can tell you that I do not send any communications out of my Stampin' Up website. I do have a monthly newsletter. That link is in the description. That's from a completely different site. And that, when you click on that link, you're just adding your first and last name and your email address. And then I would send out my newsletter. It's typically the first Tuesday of the month. This time it was it was yesterday. Um, but I usually only send one a month, unless, say, later on in the month, if Stampin' Up comes out with some kind of promotion, then I'll send a modified one, just to kind of let you know, hey, this is what's going on. So just kind of keeping you informed. So again, you do need to also have a valid email address entered, because once you place your order, you're going to receive an email that's going to have an alphanumeric code to it. What you want to do is, if you're placing a bigger order, or say you're placing multiple orders, what I personally do is I do like a Word document, and I'll copy and paste them in there, because then when you get to go and redeem them, you can actually copy and paste all of those coupon codes in there. Now, you can use all of them in one order. You can use some of them in an order. Just remember that on the 28th of February, this is when it ends. So if you had any coupon codes that you didn't use by the 28th, then you've kind of lost them. Okay, so again, from now, January 6th through February 2nd is the time frame in which you can earn those codes, and then February 3rd through the 28th is where you can redeem them. If you have any questions at all, my email address is in the description of the video. Please feel free to reach out, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you may have on that. Product of the month. So last month we started doing product of the month. Stampin' Up has stopped doing the celebration. That's usually the promotion that they would have going on in January and February of every year. So they've done away with that. Now they're doing product of the month. So for so in a month they got a product. We get no sneak peeks on these things as demonstrators. When you spend $75, and that is after any coupon codes and Stampin' Rewards have been applied to your order, and also before the shipping and the taxes added onto it. When you reach $75, there is like a tracker that's up at the top of your cart, when you go to place an order, and it's gonna let you know how much more you may need to spend to redeem this. Now, when you do reach the $75 and it says that you can, there's a button there that you do want to click on. When you click on that, it's going to take you to the page with product of the month, and then you can add it to your cart. It's not automatically going to add it to it. And then that product is going to be $5. Now, if you don't add it, if you forgot to add it, from what I've heard, that Stampin' Up, the demonstrator support, they will not be able to add it to the order. So if you really, really, really want the product, then it would have to be another order with that qualifying amount. So again, we had December, and December it was, why do I keep forgetting? True Blue Florals Designer Series paper. It's a 12 by 12 paper. The colors in here are variations of Night of Navy and Balmy Blue. This is still available. It did not sell out. For the month of January, we have the fabulous Saying stamp set. So this one, the item number is 167972. So just a whole bunch of mixed fonts, nice greetings that are in this set. Now, if you did not, so the way product of the month's the way it works is that it's only limited one per person. So if you already had purchased the designer series paper last month, then you can purchase this one this month. If you did not get this paper, excuse me, in December, you can order it. Again, it's a limit of one. As long as it's still in stock, you can still purchase it. Okay, so that's the new one, and that's product of the month. The virtual card retreat, this is going to happen January 22nd to the 23rd. It'll go from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. Mountain Time. I think those dates, it's a Thursday and a Friday. You're going to make 15 cards. From a video that I saw, these are going to be kind of like your fun fold type cards. The product that is in this is exclusive for this kit. So this is kind of like what the cards are going to look like. As far as the contents in the kit, got that printed out right here. So you're going to get this right here is the two-tone cardstock. The two-tone, usually you got light on one side, dark on the other. For this, everything, all the paper is one-sided, because on the back it has like the cutting diagrams of the paper. So they have both the light and dark on one side. There's designer series paper that's exclusive to this kit. You have two sheets that has like labels or tags. You're going to get envelopes, and you're going to get like a whole pack of basic white cardstock. You're going to get some flip flaps. There's some embellishments. I forget the name of these, but these are actually part of a suite that's in the online exclusives. And then there is a stamp and die set that actually is, they said that is going to be coming out in a future publication. So this could be a bundle that comes out in the new annual catalog, because we know it's not in this January to April one. There's also an additional stamp set. I think that one just has greetings in it. There's some small flip flaps that are in this. Um, so the price of this here in the US is 165. In Canada, it's 225. Um, I was on the fence as to if whether or not I was going to get this. I did have quite a few of Stampin' Rewards, at the end of the quarter, plus what I had from previous orders that I kind of held on to. So I did purchase this. If you, I will tell you that I not only ordered this, there were a few other items that I did order. This whole retreat kit ships in its own box, so that the contents of this will not be mixed in with your order. So it already showed. I placed this order last night, and this morning I got the notification that this had shipped, but the other things they were still picking. So I'll show you. I'll kind of do an unboxing when it comes in so you can see, what it looks like. I don't think it didn't say anything about being on low inventory. So basically this is like the kits are available while supplies last. So it's still available. Now, if we still have it and it's after was it the 23rd of January, you can still purchase the kit. Everything that they're doing, there's an exclusive Facebook group that they're going to be doing this, and you will have access to that to rewatch, because I can tell you that is a long amount of time between a Thursday and a Friday. And going for here, that would be like 3 to 10. Yeah, I'm not going to sit there and I'm going to be making these cards for all those hours. So this is definitely going to be something that I am going to go back and I'll end up putting these together. So again, I was on the fence because of the price, but because I did have the Stampin' Rewards, I applied it to this. So that's how I was able to get this. The item number for this is 170023. And again, I'm not seeing that it's on low inventory. Paper Pumpkin. Paper Pumpkin is Stampin' Up's monthly subscription kit. It is only available in North America. Special delivery is the kit for January and the last day to subscribe. Or maybe if you already are subscribed, maybe you want an extra kit, or maybe you want to pause it. You have to do that by tomorrow, because come the 11th, then it opens up to the new kit that's for February. So tomorrow's the last day for that. Also, they're continuing on with doing the add-on dies. that coordinate with January, February, and March. So you got a postage rectangle die here. You got a script beautiful, and then you have your stem and your leaves, and then two parts to a tulip. So that is for January, February, and March. You do not need the dies to complete the projects in the kit. These just simply coordinate with it. You do need to be a subscriber in order to purchase these. The item number is 168666, and the price here in the US is, forget the $12.95. At one point it was $12, but evidently they went up to $13. So these are still available. They're not on low inventory. I don't know why I didn't show this last week, but so now the January online exclusives, these are now available. Those dots, as a matter of fact, they're called Moody Palette Glossy Dots. So it's part of this Lovely Blossom Sweet collection. And I'm thinking, is that the one? Lovely. This is what we're going to be using next Friday. Okay. Let's see. And there's other items in here as well. You got an Easter bundle in there. And that's all the individual items. I did order some of this pastel shimmer specialty paper, so I'll show you guys that. And I did get the one stamp set that they did come out with for St. Patrick's Day. I figure when it comes to Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, I want to get that stuff before it ends up selling out. And then here is the January to April 2026 mini catalog, which I can now go and do this with. I will tell you that this suite here is, the suite itself is not currently available because the Ladybug Garden epoxy shapes, these are already like sold out. So they're on back order. They are coming back. So you won't be able to order the whole entire suite because these are on back order, but you can still order everything else. And you don't get a bigger discount if you purchase the whole suite. When you purchase the whole suite, your stamp and die bundle, they're discounted to 10%. So far that's what's on back order, but there's some Easter, a lot of Valentine's stuff this year. I did get this whole Made with Love suite. At my church, they collect Valentine's, treats or little gifts or whatever that they give to the women and children at a shelter and at a teen home. And so, yep, next thing you know, it's going to be Valentine's Day already. So I gotta work on making all my little cards and cards for people to write in, to just give them a little bit of encouragement. So yeah, that's something that's coming up. And then I do have Valentine's happening towards the end, like I think the last Friday of the month. I have something going on that's Valentine's themed for that. If you are not working with another demonstrator and you're here in the US and you would like a copy of this catalog we also have our annual catalog. Even though the holiday mini catalog has now retired, there's a lot of pictures, there's a lot of ideas that are in the catalogs. If you would like any of those, again, send me an email with your full name and mailing address, and I'll be more than happy to get one sent out to you. All right, so that is all the announcements that I have. That just seemed like that was a whole lot. All right, so 12 days of crafting Advent calendar. Let me get my water out of the way so I don't drop it and spill it, because we would not want that to happen. Okay, so with this advent calendar, as you can see, um, it looks all Christmas, but I will tell you it's just the packaging that's Christmas themed. What's inside of it, none of it is Christmas. So we have all our little pop-out windows that have different items in it. So instead of just pulling things out, I will be pulling things out as we go through in the projects. So that you have your items in your kit, and then there's also this photopolymer stamp set. It's actually a double stamp set. So you got one that has your greetings and then one that has your images on it. And I think, yeah, I think that's it. So let me pull in what our first project's going to be. And then while I'm at it, I'm going to kind of pull in what's coming out of the kit. So for my card base, I have a piece of basic white thick. It's 11 by 4 1/4, and I have it scored at 5.5. I have another piece of basic white that measures 4 3/4 by 3.5. I have a 2.5 by 2.5 square piece of cloud cover. What is this? 2.5 by 2.5 inch piece of the designer series paper that's in this kit. And then there's also a scrap piece of basic white. So let me show you the designer series paper. So these are all one-sided, and you do get 2 sheets of each pattern that's in here. So it's kind of hard, you know, trying to find projects where, you know, you weren't going really heavy with the paper, because the paper is very limited. So I will show you the patterns in this. So, and again, there's nothing on the back. So you got your pink flowers, and actually this is a little similar to what we're going to be doing for our last card. So that kind of design, but we're not doing it with designer series paper. And there's that pattern. And then this is the pattern that we're using for this card. So really pretty. The colors in here: Flirty Flamingo, Old Olive, Misty Moonlight, Crushed Curry. What else? Basic Beige. So not a whole lot of colors, but I can tell you, like this color here, that looks like cloud cover. So I pulled in cloud cover for this card. So there's your blue flowers. And a greenery background. And there's the basic beige with some leaves. And basic beige and white flowers with that crushed curry centers. And then another blue pattern. So basically that's, I think it's like similar to the pink, but this is all blue. Blue and white. And then got Flirty Flamingo. And then we have this pattern. So you can see I cut this up. So our second card's going to have this paper in it. Okay, so that's the designer series paper. So show you what that looked like. Let me put it back in its package. And we'll stick that back in there since I already had cut the piece that I needed. All right, and then this is going to be die cut. I did not die cut it ahead of time. In here you do have 2 sets of dies. So you have one that has your dies to cut out your floral images. You have some little detailed leaves in there, a detailed flower, and then there's even this scalloped square that has a rainbow, like right in the middle of it. So really, really cute little dies. So I did use the one for the smaller flower on my card. And then On day 7, there's another set of dies, and these are more like a postage type of die. So you have one that's a two that are kind of rectangular, two that are square, and then you have the smaller square here that has the stitching around the inside of it. So really cute die. So I ended up, I gotta pull that out, don't I? Because I didn't die cut it ahead of time. So for this one, I'm using the larger one. Now I have my electronic die cutter over here, so I am going to use that to die cut that piece. So let me move. Oh, and one other thing that we're using out of this, these embellishments. So there's these little flat gold like glittered dots. There's no adhesive on these. We're going to use these on this card. Actually, it's on this card, the second card, and then there's another set of embellishments that I'm going to use on the third one. So 5 has some masks in it. We're going to be using those on the last one. 6 has some of these. You got 2 sheets of these puffy stickers. 2 was the designer series paper. 8, you got 2 rolls of baker's twine, so Misty, Moonlight, and Flirty Flamingo. 10, here's the other bag of embellishments. I will tell you they are very staticky. We are going to be using there's these little clear hearts that I'm going to use on my last card. 9 has some printed cards and some printed die cuts in it. 4 has some gold edged labels, and some of them you got 2 each, some of them you just have 1, so little tags and labels in there. 12 has some textured cardstock panels, and then it also has these laser cut images in it. Oops, my little tabby came off. 3, that was the little gold dots. 11, there's gold glitter glue in here. I thought about using this on my last card and thought, yeah, no, we're not going to do that because that's going to take a while to dry. And then again, 7 and 1 has dies in it. And at 10, yep, I showed you that. All right, so now let's go and get our first project put together. So let me put that right down here. All right. So first I'm going to take my designer series paper. I'm going to die cut this with this die. Got to move some stuff out of the way. Then get my magnetic cutting mat, my paper. I could use my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, but I pull that out and it's just going to shake everything since the camera is attached to it. And then there'll be one more thing too that I need to die cut, and that is going to be one of the flowers that I am going to stamp. So instead of doing it ahead of time, I'm showing you the products in action. So it doesn't take too long to, to do the die cutting after the stamping. All right, so I'm going to take my card base. I'm going to fold and burnish this. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. And then on this piece here, this designer series paper, I am going to adhere that to my cloud cover panel. Okay, I didn't want to do that. Yeah, there's little pieces of that little that little packet of little embellishments that we're also going to be using. Okay, so I'm going to take this. I'm going to center this like so. Okay, got that. And then on this piece, we're going to stamp our greeting. I'm going to use Big Thanks. Okay, and then we're going to be doing this smaller flower. So when you look at these flowers, they look like, right up front, they look like poinsettias. But again, these work as being any other flower. It just depends on the color of the ink that you use. And then there's this little small flower center as well. So let me get my now clean blocks. And let's see, the flower. I'm going to need a bigger one for that. Okay, so the Big Thanks, we're going to stamp that in Misty Moonlight ink. And I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat since these are photopolymer stamps. I want to get a nice clean stamped image. So, and plus it helps that this being white, the grid paper being white, I can see better where I am placing this. Okay, so let me move these out of the way. All right, straighten my paper out. And we'll ink this up. Make sure it's all inked up. And then I'm going to stamp that. Take this, I'm going to kind of place this right there. And then I'm going to stamp this right about there. Okay. And then we'll set that aside. Then on our little scrap piece here, we're going to stamp our flower. So for the flower part, I am going to use Pretty in Pink. And I'm going to bring in some scrap paper because I want to stamp off. Let's find a nice clean piece. Okay, that one looks good. All right, I'm going to place that right underneath there. I'm going to ink up my flower with my Pretty in Pink. And you can see it is extremely inky because it's bubbling all up. So I'm just going to take my spoon and I'm going to press that ink into my ink pad. These are just a set of like 3 very inexpensive spoons that I got from Walmart, and they work well. If I use the plastic ones, well, we know what happens with plastic after a while. It would end up breaking. The kit, are you talking about this one, Terry? Or are you talking about the virtual card, the card one? Oh, wait a minute. You already got this. So you mean the card kit. It is, hold on. The card kit is, it is 170023. Okay, you found it. All right. Okay, so now let me try this again. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to stamp this off. And then I'm going to stamp it right here in the center of my cardstock. So when I went to stamp it off, I didn't stamp down really hard. I went very soft, so then that way I can at least see that image. All right, and then for the flower center, we're going to use the center here and the Misty Moonlight. And on this, I'm going to stamp it off twice. and then stamp right in the middle. And there we go. So we have a really pretty pastel colored flower here. And let's close these up. 170003. All right, so there is that. We're going to die cut that as well. So where is the dies? Need the dies. So this is out of number 1. And again, you have a die for your larger flower. This is the one we're going to use for this one. There's your rainbow, a little tiny detailed butterfly, detailed flower, and then 2 different leaf images. So let me bring this in. And actually that big flower, we're going to end up needing that for our next card. All right, so put that down. And now to figure out how to line this all up. This is very faint, so go this way. No. Nope. That looks like that's it. Turn it a little bit. Okay. Get our top plate. Okay, so there's our flower. Okay, so let's not lose any of our dies. I'm just going to put them aside because, again, the next card that we're going to be doing, we're going to be using that bigger flowered die. All right, so I'm going to take this panel here, this white panel. We're going to pop this up. So I'm going to add a few dimensionals. Okay. Yeah, they're talking about it getting windy here and rain, and there could be like hail. They didn't rule out like there, any threat of a tornado, but that was very low. So we'll see what happens. Some areas up north are gonna end northeast. They're gonna end up with snow. We're not gonna have snow. It's just going to get cold. All the more reason to stay in, right? Don't want to get sick. No, we don't want that. All right, so now this panel here, we're going to bring in the Misty, Moonlight, and White Starter ribbon pack. Now, I will tell you that on these rolls, they're 1/4 inch wide, but you only get like 2 yards of each color on here. So they're not really big rolls. Now, this ribbon, I did try it the first time where I wrapped it around and I tied it as a bow. But with it is a thin ribbon. However, when you go to tie it, it is going to be a little bit bulky, whether it's a knot, and then it'll be even bulkier if you do it as a bow. So let me bring this light down a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this around. I do have my reverse locking tweezers that come from the Embossing Editions kit. And I'm going to bring in my scissors that I use for my ribbon. And we don't, since I'm not doing a bow, I don't need a really long piece. Put that in there. Okay, and then untie this. So I need that extra hand, so I'm going to take my tweezers and I'm going to place that right there in the center. So then that way I can then tie this as a knot. Like so. And then I'll remove that. Okay, and then I'm going to slide this over and I'm going to come down a little bit with it. So I'm going to kind of bend my cardstock on a little bit and I'll bring this down some, like so. Okay, and then this whole piece, this is going to be popped up. Okay. All right, and then this is going to go right about there. Make sure we're straight. Okay, and then I'm going to trim these two tails here. Okay, and then on our flower, we're going to add, we'll add 2 dimensional. So I'm going to actually add it to this layer right here. And then my flower is going to go right over here. So it's going to cover up a little bit of that ribbon. Okay, so now the embellishments that I'm going to use are these gold glittered dots. So they are flat backed. There's no adhesive on them. So we're going to use, there's a couple of different sizes in here. I am going to use, so this, instead of using my take your pick tool, this is what I use for doing my diamond painting. I have found that when I'm picking up things to put it down, like in a little drop of glue, that this doesn't stick with it, whereas the putty that's from the take your pick tool, I have to literally like take something to remove it off of that because it's just going to pick it up. So let me get my liquid glue. And we're going to add one right here. And let's see, up here. And then another one up here. Okay, so then we're going to take and make sure that these are flat side down. We'll add this one right here. And oh, and by the way, Yvonne, the I got all of the nutcrackers done, and I kind of packaged up the snow globes, and I will tell you right off the bat, at the very beginning, was it the 2 colors, the red and the green? Yeah, it turned out that the bag wasn't sealed in between. So yeah, I had to pick out the wrong colors before I put it in the containers. but all the rest of them were fine. That was the first time I've ever had that happen with any diamond painting kit. But yep, all of the nutcrackers are done. And I have not, like I said, I have not started yet, quite yet, the snow globes. All right, so let's put these in here and close up this bag because we do not want these to go all over the place. I got a beige rug. You would not be able to find these very easily. Okay, so there is the first card. So very simple, a lot of white, and then you just got a pop of color on there, and I think this came out really super duper cute. Okay, our next card. So pay attention, Terry. This one's got a lot of blue in it. I need my little cheat sheet here. Okie dokie. Make sure I don't have anything stuck inside that card. Okay, so on this one, I gotta tell you, I try to make sure that when I'm doing my Friday Night Lives, that I am using current product. However, when I went and I looked it up, it turns out something that I had used is already gone. And this was from the holiday mini catalog. I hadn't even had a chance to use it yet, so I was using it on this particular card. That is the pattern tags die. So you have one die that will have that stitched edging along with the hole at the top of it. So this would be kind of like your background cardstock, and then you have 3 that are detailed. So out of basic white, I did die cut this one here with the flowers on it out of basic white. So really pretty. And then the solid one, I die cut out of cloud cover cardstock. Okay, and then my card base is Misty Moonlight. It's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of crushed curry that measures 5.5 by 2 5/8. There's that pattern of the designer series paper. This measures 5.5 by 2.5. And then I have two scraps of basic white. This one we're going to stamp our flower on, and then we're going to die cut it, and then I'm going to put my greeting on this. So this one, basic white, and it was die cut out of the Stylish Shapes die. So I think it's this circle right here, so the third smallest, I think. Yeah, those are still available. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's fold and burnish our card base. Okay, I'm missing? Hold on. Hold on. Where's my mouse? Mouse, where are you at? Oh, there it is. Okay. So Froggies, you have a prayer request. My aunt is in the hospital. Oh, I'm so sorry, Froggy. Please pray for her to have a quiet passing and for the family to deal with her death in a healthy manner. Oh, you got it, Froggy. Praying for you, praying for your family, praying for your aunt as well. Yeah, and she won't be in any more pain. So sorry, Froggy. Yeah, that cancer is horrible. Wow. You definitely got it, Froggy. So sorry. Okay. Card base, we scored that. we're going to take our designer series paper and we are going to adhere this to our crushed curry. So it's going to line up from the top and bottom, and then there's going to be a very small border of that crushed curry on either side. So for this, so I'm not fighting with it on using the seal, I'm going to use my liquid glue, since that will give me some wiggle room in lining this up. Okay, and then I'm going to line this up, and again there's just going to be a very small border of that crushed curry on either side. Okay. Okay, and then we are going to adhere this to our card base. More glue on the top and bottom. Okay, and then I'm going to place this right about here. So off to the left side. Make sure that that's straight. And press that down. Okay, so now I'm going to set that aside. We're going to do our nifty little glue trick to adhere our die cut tag to our solid one. So liquid glue and my silicone brush. Let's add some glue. I got to refill. I wanted to refill this before I started my live, but I kind of ran out of time to do that. So at some point I need to add more glue to that. Okay. So here's my piece. Put some glue on our silicone brush and then tap our glue on here. Again, I'm kind of holding this so it doesn't move and I don't get any of the front part of my tag in any glue. And let's get down here. Okay, let's take this, kind of move it out of the way, and then we'll line this up. Okay, and then we'll just press it together. Flip that over. Do I have this pulled out all the way? Yeah, I do. Okay, so there is our tag. Now, I thought about doing, the white behind it, but then I thought, being that it's not cloud cover, but it's kind of close, that, to have the color behind that, it would bring out those flower die cuts in that tag. All right, so there is our tag. We'll set that aside. Let's get our piercing mat. Let me first get rid of this glue and this mat because I don't want to get stuck on things. Okay. All right, so we want our mat. And we are going to take this off because we won't need that. Okay, so for this piece here, my greeting is going to be for someone extra special. And we're going to stamp that in crushed curry ink. So the yellow is dark enough to where even when it dries and it lightens up a little bit, you'll still be able to read it. So crushed curry. Ink that up. and stamp that right in the middle. Okay. And then we're going to, we'll close this up. We're going to need it. We're going to need that again. But I want my Misty Moonlight ink. And then I want the larger flower. So we're going to bring in this larger flower. And also there's a larger flower center as well. We'll bring that in. And let's get our blocks. Okay, and then I got my scrap piece here. And I'm going to ink up my Misty Moonlight. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp that right here in the middle. Okay, we'll put that out of the way and then close this up. And then get our crushed curry again. And then we'll stamp that right there in the middle. Okay. Let me clean up some of these stamps because this whole table is like filling up with stuff. There's always something satisfying that, like I was telling Yvonne when she's been here, you know, I have like a bin over to the side here, and when at the beginning of the month or near the end of the month, actually, when I start deciding what it is that I'm going to use for the new month, I pull all like the stamp sets and everything, and I'll put it in that bin. And I told her, you know, there's just something satisfying as you're pulling things out and the bin's getting emptier. And then even when I'm done with a video and I go and put everything away, it's like, you know, there's just something satisfying about that. All right, so now we got that. Let's get our die that I did leave out. So our larger flower one here. Okay. Put that down. And then determine, I think it goes this way. Line that up. Unstick my stamps from my plate. Okay. Okay, so there is our other flower. And let's close up this glue so it doesn't dry out on me. Okay, so now let's finish assembling our card. So I am going to take my flower, I'm going to pop that up. And I know my dimensionals are sitting right here. So this is going to go right over the top of our tag. So I'm not worried about, you know, worrying about the dimensionals hanging off. So I'm going to place that right about there. And then we're going to take our tag and we're going to pop that up as well. All right. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to place this right about here, like so. Okay, and then on my greeting piece, this is going to be popped up like right over here. And grab a few. So top here and on the bottom. All right, and then this is going to go right over here. Okay, and then for my embellishments, that ribbon, that Misty Moonlight and the white starter ribbon pack, I'm going to bring in the Misty Moonlight one. And we're going to create a little itty bitty tiny bow. This is the first time that I'm using this ribbon. It's in our annual catalog. Okay. There's our bow. And then I'm going to get my scissors. I'm going to trim these little tails. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in my glue dots. And so whenever I go to adhere a bow onto something, instead of putting a glue dot right there on the knot, I put it on either side of the knot. Because I don't want this bow falling off. Okay, and then this is going to go right over that little hole in the tag. All right, and then I'm going to bring in these little gold glittered flat dots. And where's my glue? And then we're going to add a few of these on here. Am I in the camera? I want to make sure that I'm in the camera and I don't, you know, kind of get out of view. Okay. Put that there. And I'm going to use my little tool that I use for my, what do you call it, for my diamond painting. Let's see, we're going to add one of these larger ones right here. See, it's nice that when I go to put it, you know, it's going to hold it. But when I put it down in the glue, it's not going to pick up with the wax on the tip here. All right, and then let's go with, find a one that's like a medium size. Like a medium. I don't know, maybe this one is. Hmm. And then we got a small one in here. Okay, so there we go. There's, yeah, these little trays. This is what I use to put my little drills in when I do my diamond paintings. Love these little trays. And I love my cool little tool. All right, so there is the second card. Just pull the colors in from that designer series paper. And again, when you look at this flower, if you do it in red, you can definitely see that it would be a poinsettia. So there is our second card. All right, so our third one. Let me kind of pick up some of this stuff here because we have stuff everywhere. Now this one, so in the kit, there are a set of 4 masks. They are 4x4 in size. It does come with a little brush. However, I am not using that brush. I'm going to use my actual blending brushes for this one. Gotta kind of move things out of my way here. It's kind of a little messy. Little messy. All right. All right, so on this one, like I said, it comes with a set of masks. So let me bring in my box really quick. What am I using? Okay, I'm not using these anymore. So I can put those back in its little box. I'm not using these dies anymore. So that can go in there. I do need these set of dies, the ones with the postage edging on it. And then in slot number 5, these are the masks. There is a little brush in there, but again, I'm not going to use that brush. These are very cute. They do a series of flowers. So there's 2 masks that are for the flowers, and then there's 2 that are for the leaves. So this card that I'm going to do is going to be all about the pink. And then the other set of embellishments, like I said, this is like a whole mixture of little itty bitty pieces that are very staticky. These would be used, they would be perfect for doing a shaker card, but inside of these, there's these like clear, almost like these clear glittered little solid hearts in them. So I'm going to be digging out 3 of those when we get to that part. All right. So kind of move some things out of the way here. Okay, so my third card. So if you like pink, yep, there's pink in this. And here's all my pieces. Okay, so my card base is basic white, thick, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. I have a piece of basic white that measures 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and I embossed this ahead of time with a new embossing folder. This one I believe is kind of standalone. It's not part of any suite. It's called Stone and Vine 3D embossing folder, and just the picture doesn't really give it much justice. But once you do emboss it, I mean, you can see like those ivy leaves, they really like stand off of the cardstock, and then you got kind of like that stone pattern behind it. So first time using this embossing folder, and again, this is new. This came out either in the January or maybe the November. Yeah, I'm thinking January online exclusives. Okay, so I did that ahead of time. Then I have a piece of Melon Mambo that measures 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. I have a piece of basic white that measures 4 by 4, and it's actually the same size as my decorative mask. So this is going to fit perfectly, and I don't have to worry about getting extra ink on there that I don't want. And then ahead of time, out of one of the dies that's in this smaller one right here, I die cut that out of basic white. All right, so start off, we'll fold and burnish this. What did I miss? Hold on. Oh, the blue, yeah, Terry and the blue card. And and Avery said that it's her favorite too. Um, what is it that you didn't think you needed, but you need it now? Was it that embossing folder? I mean, did you even notice that embossing folder at all? All right, I'm going to set that aside. I am going to bring in a piece of scrap paper, which I do have one right here. And I am going to take my white piece here. I'm going to add a little bit of seal to the back of this because I do, I can't wait till this refill is done. I don't know. It's an older one and I don't know what's up with it, but it's a pain in the caboose. All right, so I'm going to place that right here in the middle. And then I'm going to bring in my masks. So my masks are going to line up perfectly. But what I'm going to do, I am going to bring in some Scotch tape because when I did my sample card, I literally just like held it down. And I'll be honest with you, after a while on really holding this down so it won't shift. Yeah, my fingers kind of lock up. Oh, okay. Okay, so yes, it's the embossing folder. And okay, is that your excuse? You've been sick. The only thing that makes you feel better is add to cart. Yeah, that is funny. But that could also be dangerous too. And you know that. Okay, so I am going to add some tape down just to kind of like hold this in place so I don't have to, you know, really hold that down. So the colors that I'm going to use for my ink blending on this is Melon Mambo, Strawberry Slush, and then I'm also going to use Old Olive for my greenery. So I'm going to start off with Strawberry Slush. Kind of move things out of the way. And I have a blending brush sitting over here. Ink this up. Okay, take some off. And this is actually going to be a panel for the front of our card. So you can actually end up making your own designer series paper with this mask. And again, the different color combinations that you can end up using on this is just endless. I saw a card similar to this. However, they use Cloud Cover and Secret Sea. And I thought, well, I used quite a bit of blues in with the other two cards, so this one we're gonna do the pink on it. And you can see like Strawberry Slush when it's not done, with a heavy hand, you do have like a really nice bright pink color. I will have to say that for the first year Stampin' Up doing this Advent calendar, um, yeah, it's a little pricey, but I will tell you that I'm pretty impressed with the products that were in it. Um, what was it? Just around the same time, well, no, just before. Um, oh, Don's here. Welcome, Don. You feeling better? Or has Yvonne now gotten you sick again? Okay, so there is that. We'll close that up. Now we're going to bring in Melon Mambo. And now we're going to remove this. There's a reason why I left this to be the last card. I don't have my assistant here to you know, rinse these off for me. Now I've got to just figure out where I'm putting these as I use them. I'll put it over there. Okay, so number 2 is pretty easy to line up because it's the same size as the cardstock. Okay, and then tape it down. Okay, now I got another brush. He's not coughing anymore. All right, Melon Mambo. Now Melon Mambo is pretty dark, so I'm going to brush some of that off. And even when you don't go heavy with Melon Mambo, you kind of get that a brighter pink color. Okay. All right, and then we got our last one up here. And all I do with these is just run it underwater. I don't even need to use any soap on this. And all of this rinses right off. I haven't had a problem like before when I use these of, you know, this pink staining it. So again, just rinsed it on, you know, under the faucet. But then again, I'm kind of hoping that when I'm done, I'm going to be able to do that and the water is back on, because I don't even know if the water's back on yet. All right. So let's remove this. Ooh, isn't that pretty? Let's move this over there. And I'm actually going to get some clean tape because now I'm going to be using my old olive. Last night it helped. Did I say Mambo number 5? No. I said Melon Mambo. Melon Mambo. Okay, so mask number 3. And we are going to do this in Old Olive ink. And let me get some more tape. I figured you'd love this one. It's all about the pink. All right, let's line this up now. And add our tape. Okay, and then I have my brush from my old olive. So on this, I don't want to go heavy on it. I want my leaves to be a little bit lighter. I will be going over these leaves again with old olive with the last mask. Say that really fast. We got one more right here. Okay, so now let's take this off. Okay, there's our leaves. And even Old Olive, when you do it light enough, it looks bright like Granny Apple Green. All right, so our final one. So these are like our stems and also our flower centers. So kind of line that up. And we'll add tape here. And then up here as well. All right, so now we're going to go a little bit darker on our Old Olive. And our stems, it's also going to do the centers of these flowers. And we got the center of this one flower right here. Okay, I think we got everything. All right, so now the reveal of our final image. Take this off. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Yep. So there was a sample, something that was kind of similar. It's what inspired me to do this. Yeah, the colors that she did it in was Cloud Cover and Secret Sea and Old Olive. All right, so there is that piece. So now before we adhere this to our Melon Mambo piece, we're gonna rough this up a little bit. So, you know what? Before I do that, let's bring this back in. I'm going to bring in my Old Olive brush again, and I'm going to just lightly add some of this Old Olive around the outer edges. And I'm going to keep it white there in the middle. Okay. And then we're going to do something else to this before we rough it all up. So let me then take this. I'm going to open this up. Yep, this is the one we used when we did that, whatever the name of that whole suite was. Actually, I don't even know what's left of that suite. I know it went on the last chance list. All right, so I have my dark Melon Mambo Stampin' Blend brush tip, and I'm just going to tap. And since this is very inky, I'm getting some nice splatters on here on the card. All right, I think that's good. All right, now we can rough it all up. So, ain't that cool? Isn't that cool? All right. Now, I'm going to do this off screen, because if I bring in my trash bin right under this, then it's too close. But what I am going to do, I am going to get my paper snips, the ones that I use for my paper. And I am going to basically rough up the edges of this. So I'm going to do this kind of like over here, so that way it's not so close to the camera. Now there is a tool that, I mean, way back when Stampin' Up used to have it, because I used to have it. But I've seen it on Amazon where it's just like a little round tool that has like the blades in it, but it's also covered up with the plastic so you won't cut yourself. So if you're doing this with your scissors, just be very careful, because these scissors, they are very sharp. And I'm really surprised. Now our paper snips, is it the manufacturer that was making them? Did they go out of business or something? So Stampin' Up kind of discontinued these paper snips, and they were working on sourcing where to get scissors made. I'm really surprised they have not done that yet. I have not heard anything about it. So hopefully we'll get scissors again soon. I mean, you would think, you know, you make cards, you do scrapbooking, you know, you need scissors. Okay, so I think I got all my corners and stuff all roughed up. Okay, and let's get this out of the way. Close these up. And then I am going to get my cardstock and my seal. That doesn't want to work right. I'm determined to just use this up. See, it kind of gets all gooped up, and it's wanting to go off track. It's weird because instead of being just like a smooth stream of adhesive, I see like these little pieces. Is that the word that I want to use? And I don't want this on here. Okay, get that off of my fingers. And then we will, still got it on there. All right. And then we'll center this on there like so. All right, and then I'm going to bring in now another thing that is in the kit. I showed you there was the baker's twine. So I'm going to bring in the Flirty Flamingo. Now, again, there's no Flirty Flamingo ink used on this, but it is pink and it's kind of subtle, so it will work. I'm going to get a piece of tape and I'm going to wrap this around 3 times. So let's bring this kind of like down here. Kind of tape it on the back, like so. And then we're going to wrap this like 3 times, like so. And then we'll tape it to the back. All right, nope, we don't want those, we want these. All right, so there is our panel. Bring that down a little bit. Okay, we'll set that aside. Then we're going to do our greeting. So that little piece right here, and I need a Pierce mat. We're going to stamp this in Strawberry Slush ink. And we want the greeting that says, thinking of you. Our block. I'm really surprised that it's still not even on low inventory. I mean, I will tell you that I started to mention this earlier. Um, Yvonne had told me that spellbinders, you know, they have, I guess, several different advent calendars, and so the one that she ended up getting us had like dies, had embossing folder stamps and stuff in it. And I think, what did we do? I think, did we open up this one first? Because I ended up ordering this one for us. And I can tell you, we were very, very impressed with the stuff that was in this kit. What was in the Spellbinders one, I'll be honest, there were a lot of things that just didn't make sense. I mean, you got these products where everything kind of works together. It's kind of got the color theme and everything. That did not. That had like a whole mixture of things that I don't know. It just, to me, it didn't quite make sense. If that makes sense. Just it just seemed like it was a bunch of like random type stuff. All right, so my embossed piece, I'm going to adhere this down to my card base, and I'm going to bring in my glue. It kind of was. Yep, the Spellbinders one was it was kind of lame. Good night, Don. All right. So now let's add, now because you got these deep impressions, I want to make sure that I got enough glue on here. And is it going to come out? Okay, I haven't heard any water get run upstairs. So I got a feeling there's no water. I'm kind of glad that I was able to get, I mean, when I took my shower and I thought, okay, let me try and get a load of laundry done. And it went through the whole cycle. It got to the part where it was rinsing and it filled, and it's like, okay, still got water, still got water. And literally, it was just a matter of moments after the load was done that the water was out. So I was glad that I got that done. All right, so now I want to center that on there like so. Now, the width of this is 4 1/8, so it's the same size. What about peeing? It's buffering. Why are you buffering? You shouldn't be buffering. It should not be buffering. There's nothing else running on my internet other than my phone and my laptop. All right, so now I'm going to take this piece and we're going to adhere this down. Now, I went and used this. It didn't, I don't know, I didn't think that it really stuck as well as I would like it to. I guess because this is textured. So I'm going to use my liquid glue on this piece. So it's going to line up from the top and bottom of my embossed piece. And then you'll see a little bit of that embossing on either side of this. Oh my gosh, I hope that water's back on before that would happen, Froggy. Cause I mean, but the one good thing is I have two bathrooms in this apartment, and so the other one, the main one, I had used that one and the water in the tank, so I was able to flush it, but I only got like this one back here, because now if I use that one, I can't flush that one. Well, I mean, I can, but it's not going to fill. So, all right, so there is that piece. Now I'm going to take my greeting. I'm going to get some dimensionals for the back of this. And since I'm going to be kind of laying it over the top of that baker's twine, I'm going to add 3 on the back here. Okay. And then that is going to go right over here, like so. Okay, now for our final part, we're going to add some embellishment to this. Now, this is the part where I need to go digging through this little packet to get these little, they're kind of like, I don't know if I want to say they're frosted or kind of textured, but they're clear hearts. There's even like little iridescent bows in here as well. And of course, this is very staticky. So here's one of the hearts right here. So let me get that, get whatever's stuck to it off of it. But there's that little heart. If you could see it, it's just so tiny. It's got a little bit of like sparkly on it. And I'm going to pull out 3 of those to put on my card. Yeah, so there's like a little bow. There's a lot, everything is kind of like stuck to all of this, but you even have like a little iridescent bow. But we want, and then of course there's little iridescent stars that are sticking everywhere. But I need to find the hearts. Oop, there's another one. Come on. There's another one. We need one more. Oops, there's one right there. No, that's a bow. We have to dump out a little bit more. I really should have pulled them out before I started the video. Yeah, I don't see any. Okay, there's got to be another one in here. What is that? I don't think that belongs in there. Oop, I see one. Right here. Okay, there's our, and now I got these all over the place. Yeah, there's like little itty bitty tiny clear sea beads in there as well. So definitely a fun shaker element. They had a sample card using these where you can do a shaker card where uh, you take your cardstock and you put it inside one of those clear envelopes, and you can do a shaker card that way. But that would have used a whole lot of these, and yeah, so all right, glue. So now I'm going to add these little hearts. Let's see, we'll do one right there. Okay, where's my little tool? And that one there. And then one more right up here. Okay, little putsy because we had to go hunting down. I did close this bag, right? Yep. So there is the third card. So very pretty. I really do love those little itty bitty hearts and the pink and the green, and it's pretty. Okay, so now let me bring in the other two. So again, we use that new embossing folder called Stone and Vine 3D embossing folder. I use that on the background. Definitely going to use that in some more future projects, but this card was focusing on the decorative masks that are in that kit. Our second one, again, we're using the designer series paper and the stamps, and then use those papered, was it pattern tags. These dies, again, I did check before I went live, and they are gone. So these are no longer available. But if you have any other tag dies, you can just substitute it for that. And then we got our greeting. And why is my hair like in the video? We don't need my hair in the video. It probably freaked Yvonne out. And then, haha, hee hee. I don't know if she's still here. She heard me say that. And then here's our first one. So a very clean and simple white card with the pop of color from the designer series paper and our little stamped off flower. Okay, so while I kind of tidy up a little bit because we need some room here for me to bring in my laptop. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and the link is pinned up at the top of the chat box to access the the Google spreadsheet. If you want to add your name for the wheel of names to do the card drawing for one of these cards tonight. And if you have any issues whatsoever trying to add your name, I know that spreadsheet was acting a little wonky at the very beginning. Just say something and what do you call it? And someone will be more than happy to get your name added on there. So I just need to tidy up a little bit because there's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Got some cleaning up to do as soon as I'm done with this live. Now I'm not hearing it very windy out there. I'm not hearing like rain hitting the windows. So I haven't heard thunder either. So we made it through. Okay, move this out of the way. Move that. That. Get these out of the way. Don't add your name, you'll make your own. Okay. You want to make all of them. So when you go to make all of them, are you going to make one or are you going to make multiples? Remember, you only got 2 sheets of the designer series paper in this kit. So yeah, I had to really think about the projects that I was going to make, knowing that, okay, you're kind of limited when it comes to, you keep getting the name. Yeah, it's doing the strike through. I'll fix that. I'll take that off. I'll take that off of there. I don't know what's up with that spreadsheet tonight. Usually I don't have any issues with it. Okay, I think I got all these little doodads in here. I'll probably be finding more as I clean up, but I'm going to take these, I'm going to move them up here a little bit. So again, if I draw your name, just let me know which one that you want. And let me get my little thing here. And where's my pens? Right here. All right. And let me move these lights. And Adrian, welcome, welcome. Thank you. Let me see who we have on our spreadsheet. Okay, so I got Terry, Froggy, Avery, Becky, Tracy, and Sharon. Is there anybody else who would like to be added? Would you like to be added, Adrian? Hello, Barbara. Welcome. So right now we are, what I do on my Friday Night Lives at the very end, I do a drawing for one of the cards that I have made tonight. It does not matter where you live in the world. Cards I can mail anywhere. Product I can't mail to other countries. But so this is what, okay, I see your response, Adrian. So this is the part where if you would like to be added, just let us know. Let me just make sure I spelled your name right. I think I did. Yes, I did. Barbara, would you like to be part of our drawing? You don't have the patience, Sharon? Okay. Gotcha, Barbara. Let me add you right here. Okay, so I have Terry, Froggy, Avery, Becky, Adrian, Sharon, and Barbara. Is there anybody else that would like to be part of tonight's drawing? So if I do draw your name and I've never mailed you anything, so that would mean I don't have your address. If I choose your name well, it's pinned up in that top comment up at the top of the chat box. My email address is up there. If you could send me an email, like your full name and your mailing address, I am planning either tomorrow or on Sunday morning dropping off the cards to the post office. So if you can get the info to me, I can get it all prepped tonight and ready to go in the mail when I go out. I just don't know what the weather's going to be like tomorrow morning. So I don't think it's just going to be cold come Sunday. I do know that. So I don't see any more comments. So I think we got everybody. So let me go and take all these names and I'll add them to my wheel. Okay, so when I highlighted all that, that one blank one that was all grayed out, that did not show anything. So we got everybody. Let me just, okay. Oh, it's cold there. Yeah, it's going to get cold here. There's supposed to be a storm blowing through tonight. So, all right. So let me bring in my laptop. I don't have that fancy software where I can kind of flip screens and all that. So unfortunately, this is the way I got to do it. Okay. So if I draw your name, just let me know which card it is that you would like. And let's go over to my wheel and let's give it a spin. Froggy. I know I got a zoom note. There you are. Which card would you like? Number 3. You got it. Okay, so our next card. Oh, why is there a blank spot there? Terry, I don't even have to ask. I don't even have to ask. Because I know. Oh, Adrian, you're in Ohio? I used to live in Ohio. I lived near Cleveland. You want to give it to Avery? Okay. Carol, we're just sending it to your address. Lorraine, oh, okay, so you are definitely not far because I was in Cuyahoga, so you're like you're the next county over. Okay, I got it. I got it, Carol. Okay. Yeah, you weren't far from me at all. At one point, I was in Brook Park. I was in Berea. I was in Middleburg Heights. So yeah, I'm very, very familiar with the area. Very cool. This, I don't know what. Here, let me take Avery off of here now. But yeah, I don't know what this one is. I don't know what this blank one right here is. It must have something to do with that blank spot that was on the spreadsheet that was grayed out. Adrian, you have our first card. So this one right here, Congratulations. So if you could, again, my email address, it is um, pinned up at the top of the chat box. Please send me an email with your full name and address, and I will get this card sent out to you before the weekend is out. Okay, so let me kind of get this stuff out of the way and we'll kind of wrap things up. So we did go a little bit long tonight. Last Friday we did good. We had it less than 2 hours. But let me see. Oh, Tracy said her name was missing. Oh. Oh shoot. Okay, Tracy, I feel bad that your name wasn't on that list. Okay, so everybody, again, thank you for joining me tonight. Again, for the whole month of January at least, I am going to go live at 6 p.m. Central rather than 7. We're going to give this a try, see how this works. And if everything works out well, then I think that's going to be the new time that we're going to do the Friday Night Lives. So again, next Friday, it's some lovely blossoms, I think is the name of the suite. It's an online exclusive item that just recently came out. You were the missing link. So everybody, wherever you are located, if you are in the path of any of these storms that are going to be blowing through tonight, please be safe. I know that some areas like down here, we're kind of warm at the moment, but that cold front's going to come through, so it's going to be really cold. And I know up north there, there's some areas that are going to get some snow too, and there's supposed to be heavy winds and all that. So have a wonderful weekend, praying that none of you lose power and I don't lose any power and that I have water. And I will catch you in the next one. So everyone have a blessed one and I will see you later. Bye bye.